Hello, everybody, and welcome to English Grammar with Ameya sir. And in the last lecture, we started with a delightful story. Sort of an interval has been reached, and if you have not seen that, I sincerely suggest you watch that lecture first. And if you are with me on this journey, well, then we have reached a point where we know what are Della's plans, and now we wish to know what is Jim going to do for her. And the climax, I told you that the beauty of the writer is that he is known for his sudden endings or his climax. So we will find out soon about how it ends in this lecture. I'm very happy to get the feedback from you. I've been receiving a lot of emails, your comments, not for the previous lecture, but the lectures before that, because it will take some time for the students to reach 4.6. I have started with 4.6 before the other chapters because I just thought that in these depressing times, 4.6 makes for a wonderful chapter to study. Without further ado, let me just quickly pull up the last slide we studied. Yes, I believe this was the last slide that we studied, guys. Remember, Della approached Madame Sofroni, and I told you that she was not quite the Sofroni that she should be, and she sold her lovely hair. By the way, you should remember the metaphor. Yes, the brown cascade. The writer has said that her hair was so beautiful. The writer says that her hair is nothing but a beautiful brown cascade, a waterfall. And so she has sold her hair. Della has sold her hair for $20, and now she has $21 and some cents. I hope you recollect, 87, I suppose. And now she is going to buy a gift for Jim. Her Jim, remember, her husband. So let us get started with the slide. That is going to be the first slide for today's lecture. There you go. So when I read it as usual, you know what I'm going to say. Give me your 100% undivided attention. Okay. So now remember, Della has some money and she wants to do something for her Jim, her husband. Let's start. So let me get my marker ready. Yes, okay. Oh, and the next 2 hours tripped by on rosy wings. Forget the hashed metaphor. She was ransacking the stores for Jim's present. Ransacking, I believe, is, well, not necessarily a new word. Yeah, for some people, yes. So ransacking is to search thoroughly but destructively. So I will give you a better example. Let's say you want some textbook or some notebook immediately. Then the way you search in your cupboard is called ransacking. Then you don't care for neatness. You just somehow want something urgently. That kind of a search, that kind of frisking is called what? It's called ransacking. And by the way, I'm serious that this might not be a new word for all of you, but yes, for some. So better make a note of it in case it is new for you. And is there anything else here? No, nothing. But there is one thing I would like to get your attention. Yeah, this word here, present. There is a definite difference between present and present, guys. What did I just say? There is a definite difference between present and present. So what is the difference? Let me take you to the notepad. So for the first time now in this lecture, we will go to our notepad, and my first entry is about the word present. So it's more like the PRI sound when it is used as a verb, and it is the regular PRE sound when it is used as a noun. So let's say she presented the lecture. Okay, next one, she received the present. Guys, properly enjoy this, thoroughly enjoy this, because I'm sure this will bring about some something new that you probably did not know. This is present, okay, present, because it is used as a verb form. She presented the lecture. But when you use it as a noun, then you say she received the present. Then it is more like the present. What's interesting, is it not? Present is the verb form and present is the noun form. So basically, just to put it in short, you present the present. Again, you present the present. That's the difference. So please make sure that you know this. One more entry that I will quickly discuss, because we are on this point, about the same word, the same spelling, but it's different the way you use it. I have already mentioned comment and comment previously in my previous lectures, but the other one I want to talk about is content and content. Same spelling, C-O-N-T-E-N-T. Content and content. Now, content is a satisfaction. I am content. That means I am satisfied. But if you pronounce it as content, then you are referring to the ingredient, something that is included into it. So milk is an important content of an ice cream, not content. You in your life can say that, okay, I'm content. That's the difference between content and content. Similarly, here we studied present and present. I'm sure you enjoyed that. And now let's get back to the slide. Guys, I don't think I should give you entirely a separate minute for this. You can just pause the video or probably go back and then resume the video once you're ready. Let me just go to the next slide now. There's nothing much here. This is a big one. So when I read it, please pay proper attention. You will definitely improve your language. By the way, this over here is the watch. And this chain that you see is called a fob chain. You will have that word here, guys. Okay, let me read it now. She found it at last. It surely had been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any of the stores, and she had turned all of them inside out. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design, properly proclaiming its value by substance alone, and not by meretricious ornamentation, as all good things should do. It was even worthy of the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him. Quietness and value. The description applied to both. $21 they took from her for it, and she hurried home with the 87 cents. With that chain on his watch, Jim might be properly anxious about the time in any company. Grand as the watch was, he sometimes looked at it on the sly on account of the old leather strap that he used in place of a chain. So let me explain this, guys. It's a beautifully written lesson. I say it time and again. Well, let's see some entries first. I told you already that this is the fob chain. Okay, this particular image that you have here is the fob chain. In fact, this one here is a fob chain used to connect or tie rather the watch with the coat or something like that. Chaste is simple, without unnecessary ornamentation or without any ostentatious display. What did I just say? Without any ostentatious display. So without any gaudiness, without any showy nature. Unnecessary ornamentation wasn't there. It was simple. That's the meaning of chaste. Remember that. That's the meaning over here of the word chaste. What else should we study here? Yes, meretricious. Meretricious, guys, it's not mere, okay? It's meretricious. Now, meretricious means showily attractive but lacking real value. So it was not something that it was showy. I think that's related to this word chaste. Showily attractive or showily attractive but lacking real value. Meretricious. Also, I'm sure you properly paid attention to the way I pronounced C-O-M-P-A-N-Y. I did not say company. I said company. Company. I did not say company. Okay? Company. Last time we saw a similar word. I suppose it was button. Not button. Button. Right? So here you have company. Not company. Company. There are more things to study on the slide. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. This is a grammar entry. They'll ask you to rewrite using no sooner than. How are you going to do that, guys? No sooner did she see it than she knew that it must be Jim's. Guys, pay attention here. The verb used in the sentence is saw. Therefore, when you use did, you will change the verb saw to its present form see. So no sooner did she see it than she knew that it must be Jim's. Guys, the second verb, the one that comes after this than part, that does not change to the present form no. It is only the first verb that comes to the present form because we have used did. But the verb after the word than does not change. Just bear that in mind. It's something very important. So it's not then, it's than. T-H-A-N. And why did we use did? It's because it was past tense. This is definitely a very good entry. Is there anything else? No, that's it. Guys, for this one, I suppose you should take your minute. Very important. I'm going to grant you a minute and starting now. I'll be with you at the end of this minute. Copy everything properly. Okay, so your time is up, and by the way, I really think that it was quite a big paragraph. So let me just give you a little quick explanation, especially towards the end. Now, what has happened here is that Della has bought a nice fob chain that we saw in the image. Okay, what at the moment is a situation. The situation at the moment is that he has an ordinary leather strap. He's using that as the fob chain, or rather something that is tied to the watch. So the watch is the golden one. It's a gold watch, all right. But at the moment, he cannot just flaunt it because of the leather strap, which is ordinary. So now Della is sure that after he gets this lovely present, okay, which is presented by Della, she is sure that Jim will time and again be anxious about the time. Maybe even on purpose, he could just take out the watch to see what the time is in other people's company, so that he could show that, you know, he has got a decent fob chain, which was a nice platinum fob chain. And how much money did Della spend on it? $21. So remember, she is such a loving wife. Absolutely amazing, and that's why I love this. Jim is also going to do something here. We'll come to that. So she had $21.87, and she has spent $21 on this fob chain. So she just has 87 cents left with her, but she is happy now, and she has happily come back home. So I hope you've understood it. Time for us to go to the next stanza. Not stanza, paragraph, I beg your pardon. Okay, I'm reading it now. Stop doing your work. If you are engaged in any other thing, or just cut it. Okay, with me now. When Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She got out her curling irons and lighted the gas and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love, which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task. Within 40 minutes, her head was covered with tiny close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror long, carefully, and critically. So what are the things to study here? First of all, intoxication, meaning very excited, full of excitement. And the other word I want you to learn is exhilaration. There's such a nice word here, okay? Please make a note of such things very properly. It does improve your vocabulary. So excitement is just okay, it's the meaning. But the better word here is exhilaration. She's very, very happy. Over the moon, you can say. Because she's finally got what she wanted. What else? Prudence is wisdom. So now she has come home, and finally when that feeling is sunk in, Try to understand, guys. Happens to you also, is it not? When you are at the market and you probably got what you were searching, something that you yearned, something that you wanted, and now you have it. Well, then there's little intoxication almost, is it not? But then when you come home, you settle, your nerves settle down, and you become wise again. You start thinking sanely. For some time, you're just completely exhilarated. Same thing has happened to Della, but now she's all right. Now there is sense back again. She's very happy though. What else? Ravages. What's this word? Extensive damage. What was the extensive damage, guys? Of course, the extensive damage is that she's sold her hair. Something that was a property. Remember, it was their property. One was Jim's gold watch, for which she's bought this fob chain, and the other one is Della's lovely hair. So that's a great damage. So the word we have studied is ravages, the extensive damage. Now this one is a nice figures of speech, guys. It's tautology. Now why is it tautology? Tautology is when two words almost mean the same are used in a sentence. So here, tremendous task and a mammoth task is almost the same. In fact, along with tautology, you could definitely say that this is repetition as well, because the word task is repeated. So please make a note of tautology, and alongside you can also say that it is repetition as well. Tremendous and mammoth means big, something enormous, so they mean the same. And tautology because, repetition because the word task is repeated for a better poetic effect. Look at the last line here. Long, carefully, and critically. It's not exactly a climax. Not exactly. You can treat it like it. If your teacher says it's climax, fine to make a note of it. It's not exactly a climax. A truant schoolboy. This one is definitely new. Truant is a pupil or a student who stays away from school without any explanation. Mind you, look at the spelling. Explanation is E-X-P-L-A-N-A-T-I-O-N, okay? Explanation. So some student who stays away from school without any valid reason. That is how Della was looking like. I'm sure, guys, that she had some kind of a bob cut. Girls, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, she's cut the hair. So probably she has a bob cut now. And so she looked almost like a truant schoolboy. And there is a reason. Now, if you're confused, schoolboy, yes, because of her small hair, the cut. That's why the writer says schoolboy and not a schoolgirl. There's no mistake in writing here. You should appreciate. That's why Della, from a beautiful woman, the hair, brown waterfall, remember? From that, she is now, her look is more like a truant schoolboy. Okay? So that's not a mistake. Schoolboy is okay for Della. She's now looking like that. Very nice. Excellent. Is there anything else on the slide here? No, nothing. Guys, this deserves a minute at least. Okay. So I'll be with you at the end of this minute. Carefully jot down everything. Okay, your time is up, and I have no doubt that you made necessary notes. If not, pause the video. For the moment, I am going to continue. So, when I read, as usual, do not do anything else. If Jim doesn't kill me, she said to herself, before he takes a second look at me, he will say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. Guys, Coney Island chorus girl. So definitely this picture here will help you. This image here will help you. So she is looking like one of these. Okay. Coney Island chorus girl, the girls who take part in such musical performances. But what could I do? Oh, now this oh is an interjection. What could I do with $1.87? Remember, she just had $1.87, guys, at the start. At 7 o'clock, we discussed this, guys. O'clock is off the clock. At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Now, guys, this is chop. It is a dish of meat, maybe mutton or pork. So she is going to cook that, and she's, of course, again, that's for her Jim. And she says at the start here, you see that if Jim doesn't kill me. Now I want to talk about this, guys. There are moments when we talk to ourselves, not because we are crazy. There are moments when we talk to ourselves, and such things in language are called as monologues. What? Monologues. There is a dialogue, two people, and then there is a monologue with the self. You believe that, right? You do talk. For example, it's your birthday, and then probably it's your birthday next week. Then when you are alone, then you might talk to yourself and say, hey, it's my birthday. I wonder what my parents would give me this time. You wonder, you talk to yourself. So that kind of talking that you do with yourself is a monologue. Or another example, this one is good. Let's say your mama is talking on the phone for a long time now. She normally doesn't do that, but then she is on a phone for quite a while now. Then you do talk to yourself, is it not? Like, what's the matter? I hope everything is fine. She normally doesn't talk on the phone for so long. Sure, understood? So those kind of dialogues that you have with yourself are called as monologues. I'm going to take you to the notepad for this, guys, very quickly. Let's go to the notepad. This will be our second entry. The first was the present and present. Now we are going to talk about monologues. And by the way, for monologues, we have a lot of nice entries in the textbook. Subsequently, we will definitely cover them. Situation 1. What's the situation 1? By the way, let me come on cam again. At the board, they will ask you to provide monologues. For example, they'll give you a situation and they will ask you to write a monologue. And then how to do that correctly? Don't lose half a mark. You know where? They should be in inverted commas. So important. And it is better you start with an interjection and then you can start with the line. What do I mean by that? Let's take yet another example. Let's go to the notepad. You'll enjoy this. Properly make notes, okay? You can do this with me. I'm going to give you a situation. You are going for an exam and the bus is late. So imagine you are at the bus stop and you are going for an exam. So it's important that you reach on time. So you will say, drat. Oh, I beg your pardon. Inverted commas open. I was about to make that mistake myself. Drat. I hope the bus arrives soon. I cannot be late for the exam. Okay, so please write the complete answer this way and the examiner will be so impressed, guys, with your efforts. Don't just provide some line, just one simple line. Just make it meaningful. So if you are at the bus stop and the bus is late, you have an exam to write, then you definitely would say this, drat. It's an exclamation of annoyance. You can say, drat. I hope the bus arrives soon. I cannot be late for the exam. I am absolutely sure that you enjoyed this, guys. These are monologues. You can pause the video, rewind it if you want to make a note of that. I'm not going to give you an entire minute for that entry alone, but the point to note is monologues. And yes, in our English textbook, there are entries for monologues. We will study them when the right time comes. Let's go back to what we were studying. I told you that, yeah, this image you see here is of the chops. So there is no entry here for grammar, no nothing. So let me go straight to the next one now. Again, stop doing everything else that you're doing. Pay attention, read it with me. You can do it in your mind. Let's start. Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered. Then she heard his step on the stairway down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit of saying little silent prayer about the simplest everyday things. And now she whispered, "Please God, make him think I am still pretty." How sweet is that, guys? How sweet is that? I hope that you remember we studied in the lesson that Della always used to welcome Jim with a nice hug. Lucky Jim. And here again, she's praying to God because now she knows that there will be some reaction. Remember, Jim also loves her hair. So now there is going to be a new avatar, a new look. And so she's sure that there is going to be some reaction. So she's praying to the Almighty that make him think that I am still pretty despite of the haircut. Let his love not reduce. Let him still think that I am pretty. How sweet is that? Is it not? Very lovely indeed. Is there anything else to study as far as the grammar is concerned, or maybe a vocabulary? There's a grammar entry. Jim was never late. Make it affirmative. Guys, never makes it negative. They'll ask you to make it affirmative. So the answer is Jim was always on time. Never say Jim was before time, okay? Jim was never late, but the better way to say is Jim was always on time. If Jim was always on time, which means that he was never late, which is quite obvious. And there is one more, figures of speech. Please God, well, this is a direct address to God. So the figures of speech is apostrophe. Guys, it's not apostrophe, it's apostrophe. It's a direct address to God. Another very interesting observation, guys, is this word every day. We have talked about it in one of our previous lectures, so I'll touch on the topic very quickly. Every day written separately and every day written together are different. Every day written together is something that is everyday stuff that happens normally. Every day, it's an everyday thing. Every day written separately means each day. And the best example, I think I shared the same example when I discussed it previously. I read the newspaper every day separately. I read the newspaper every day, but I am bored to read the everyday news. Now you understood? Let's write that line in the notepad very quickly. That shall be our third entry for today. Guys, I love this knowledge that I'm able to share with you whilst explaining the lesson. So look at the difference here. The difference is every day versus every day. And what is the line I shared with you? I read the newspaper every day. Notice this is separately, written separate, every day. But I am bored to read the everyday news. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely brilliant example. Just one line tells you the difference between every day and every day. And do leave some comments, guys, when I give you such interesting examples, because I make sure that the examples are interesting, for you to grasp the point. I try my best to keep it as simple as possible. Do leave the comments if you like everything that is being presented to you. All right, now back to the slide. So that's apostrophe and everyday observation. Anything else? No, nothing else. So this, guys, I won't give you time for this. Should I? Now just pause the video or rewind it. There is nothing much to write. Allow me to go to the next slide, please. Yeah, I'm reading it now, so pay attention. Give me your undivided attention. The door opened and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow. He was only 22 and to be burdened with a family. He needed a new overcoat and he was without gloves. Guys, this explains their poverty. This explains their poverty. It's not that Jim needed only the fob chain. He was only 22 years old. So maybe they married very early. 22, they married very early. So then the onus of running the show was on his shoulders. Onus? onus. Leave it in the comment. Okay. Yes, the meaning of onus, onus. So the burden was on his shoulders of the family. So he came, but he needed not just the fob chain. We were on that point. He also needed the coat. He had old gloves, not gloves, okay? Gloves. Gloves is not gloves. It's gloves. Remember, there would be some entries, I'm sure. Let's check them out. Yeah. He looked, remember the t sound? Not looked, looked. He looked thin and very serious. Use not only, but also. The answer is he looked not only thin, but also very serious. And the other one, he was without gloves. Make it negative. He did not have gloves. Again, I'm saying it's not gloves. It is gloves. Your homework is to find the meaning and write it down below as a comment. You can do that. Onus, O-N-U-S. And 22 is not written as a number, it's written as a spelling. So I appreciate that. When you write English, you're supposed to spell it. You're not supposed to use numbers unless absolutely necessary. Okay, so Jim has entered now. Guys, we are entering a very exciting phase of the lesson. So Della is now without her hair. She sold it. And this is the first time now the husband and wife will see each other. And now for the critical moment. So what's going to be Jim's reaction? Has Jim got something for Della? And O. Henry, the writer, is famous for his climax. So let's find out. We've entered a very exciting phase now. I'm sure you're really excited as I am. The next one. Oh, by the way, there is one more entry. Beg your pardon. He needed a new overcoat. Rewrite using need. So you have needed. They'll ask you to rewrite using need. So he needed a new overcoat. He was in need of a new overcoat. I beg your pardon for that. And I think this deserves a minute for sure. For sure. Because now this is the third entry here. I'll give you a minute starting now. I will be with you at the end of this minute. Copy everything properly, please. Okay, so the time is up. I am sure you are done with what was required. And now for the next one. I am going to read now, guys. Stop doing your work. Pay attention, please. Jim stopped inside the door as immovable as a setter at the scent of a quail. I beg your pardon, it's not of a quail, of quail. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any kind of sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face. So guys, now you understand how beautifully this lesson is written. When Jim saw Della, the expression on the face was like it was something else. Della had never seen that expression on his face. What does the lesson say, guys? It's so important. The lesson says that it was not horror, it was not disapproval, it was not surprise, it was not any sentiment that she had ever come across. And so that terrified Della. Like, give me something. Like, are you angry with me? Am I looking good? Are you annoyed? Give me something. She can't figure out what's happening here. I remember the expression of the character Ross in the series Friends. Just the expression where, Rachel could not find out whether he is mad, whether he is happy, whether he is nervous, excited, what. Give me something. So clearly that kind of look. So is he not happy with the haircut? Give me something. So he just kept looking at her. staring fixedly with that peculiar expression. It was not anger, it was not horror, something else. Beautifully written indeed. Let's go to the slide to find out the entries here. Setter. He stood there as immovable as a setter. Guys, setter is a trained dog who is trained to stay still when he locates the hunted animal. You know, these hunters, they carry the dogs. So a dog who is trained to be steady or to be rigid when he spots the game, and by game here I mean the hunted animal or the bird, in this case quail. That's a quail for you. Quails come in various sizes, shapes, colors. I think this is the Californian quail, guys. Okay, the image that you see here is the Californian quail. If you Google it, I think you will have other images of quail as well. So this is a game bird and hunted a lot. Sad, but yeah, that's how it is. And setter is the breed of the dog. So the meaning of this is that when Jim entered and he just stood there, just steady as the setter. Now I hope you've understood this. Guys, also let me know if my explanations help you, in the sense that you understand everything properly. It does help me make my videos a little better. I'm always welcome to that. Do let me know. Is there anything else on the slide there? No, nothing else. Guys, again, I'm not going to give you a separate minute for this because there are a couple of entries. That's it. In fact, one of them is an image. So let's go to the next slide. Della wriggled off the table and went for him. Jim, she cried, don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. It will grow out again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim, and let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I've got for you. Again, I would say such a loving and caring wife here. Lucky Jim. And the meaning here, first of all, we have to study is wriggled off. Okay, she made her way by twist and turn. So she hurriedly, she's for some time she was trying to find out what exactly Jim wants to suggest, but she couldn't make out from his looks. So she wriggled off the table and she approached Jim and said, Jim, don't look at me that way. Okay, fine. I cut my hair, I sold it, but I sold them for you. And I've got a nice gift for you. I couldn't have lived. Now, this was a power line. She says, I couldn't have lived through Christmas without gifting you. Brilliant. Or without giving you a present. This is so nice. Okay, she only has now 87 cents left. Remember that. There was no compromise on that. Beautiful. And so she says that you will be happy. So just say Happy Christmas. Don't worry about my hair. My hair grows awfully fast. Okay, and in times of this COVID-19, where you can see here, it's just messy. Let's talk about Della's hair. Sure. Okay, anything else here? Anything else? Yeah, my hair grows awfully fast. Make exclamatory. You don't have an article here, so you start with the word how. My hair grows awfully fast. Make exclamatory. How awfully fast does my hair grow? Now, guys, because you have used does, the S here, grows. This word will change to grow. Okay, because you have used does. So guys, when we use did, we bring the verb to the present form. Similarly, when you use does, you cancel out the S that the verb carries. Okay, is there anything else? Yes, here it is make assertive. What a beautiful. So this is exclamatory to assertive. This is exclamatory to assertive, and this one was assertive to exclamatory. So the answer for this one is, I have got a very beautiful, nice gift for you. That's it, guys. Yes, I'll give you a minute for this. I'll join you at the end of this minute. Copy everything properly, please. Okay, your time is up. I'm sure you're done with the needful, and time now for us to go to the next line. Pay attention, guys. You have cut off your hair? Asked Jim laboriously, as if he had not arrived at that patent fact yet, even after the hardest mental labor. Cut it off and sold it, said Della. Don't you like me just as well anyhow? I am me without my hair, ain't I? As the first entry is laboriously, taking a lot of efforts. So he took a lot of efforts before posing this question, like you cut your hair. Patent is very obvious, guys. He watched Della, is it not? You've seen Della now, so it's obvious that she has had a haircut, and yet he's not arrived at that patent fact. So patent is obvious. Now ain't, I told you already, it's that ain't is used in informal. That is when you talk, it's okay to use ain't. Even I do that. But when you write it, well, it's okay. It's okay to write aren't instead of ain't. So the negative of am is not ain't. It is aren't. Informal language. Here it is informal language. So ain't is pretty much okay here. Guys, I'm not going to give you a minute for this. I think that's all there is here. Yes, that's it. So I'm going to go to the next one. Jim looked about the room curiously. You say your hair is gone, he said with an air of almost idiocy. You need not look for it, said Della. It's sold. I tell you, sold and gone too. It's Christmas Eve, boy. Be good to me, for it went for you. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered, she went on with a sudden serious sweetness. But nobody could ever count my love for you. Shall I put the chops on, Jim? Again, I would say this is absolutely fantastic. The love there. She is saying, am I not the same person without my hair? My hair grows very fast. Okay, so I sold it. I sold them for you. My hair were probably numbered, but my love for you has no bounds. So please appreciate this. It's Christmas Eve, my boy. Let's greet each other and let's be happy. Shall I put the chops on for you? Remember, chops is the mutton or the meat that she's prepared. She is now saying that let's enjoy the Christmas. Forget about my hair. Don't worry about it. It will grow again. And I am still the same person without my hair. Amazing. I must say, Lucky Jim. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, next entries here. Okay. Curiously is eagerly. Idiocy probably is new for you, which means stupidity or foolishness. Eve here is the evening or the day before a religious festival. Eve is the pronunciation. Now this is the most interesting part, and you can mark this with an asterisk, guys, because this is really an important entry from even the exam point of view. Why? Because this is oxymoron. They are opposite words, is it not? Serious, sweetness. I mean, you're talking about sweetness and then you're talking about seriousness. So serious, sweetness, two contradictory words placed side by side is called oxymoron. Guys, two contradictory words, not anywhere in the sentence, placed side by side, which means completely contrasting, is called oxymoron. For example, he is regularly irregular. True Lies, the movie, the Hollywood movie. Those things, well, definitely are oxymoron. Please make a note of that. That's the most important entry there on the slide. Anything else? No, nothing. Okay, do I give you a minute for this? Well, yeah, okay, take a minute for this. Okay, take a minute. I'll be with you at the end of this minute. Copy everything properly, please. Okay, so the time is up. You must be done with what was required. The next one, pay attention. Out of his trance, Jim seemed quickly to wake. For 10 seconds, let us regard with discreet scrutiny some inconsequential object in the other direction. $8 a week or a million a year. What is the difference? A mathematician or a wit would give you the wrong answer. The Magi brought valuable gifts, but that was not among them. This dark assertion will be illuminated later on. Guys, what are the entries here? Trance means half a conscious state, and he was almost half unconscious, and he returned to some sense. Inconsequential is something unimportant, something that does not make a difference, and discreet scrutiny is careful or a very prudent observation that he must have done about Della. Now, what is the meaning here? We'll deal with the word assertion first. It's a confident statement or belief. So let me explain this properly, guys. Jim is looking at Della, and he was almost unconscious. Now he's gained some consciousness, and we know that Magi are the people who bring gifts for each other. But this dark, they were not actually regarded as Magi up until that point. The lesson is yet to come to a climax. So this dark assertion, this belief will be illuminated, will be known by all of us in a moment. By later, I mean just in the next paragraph. Just remember this much, that he had made a careful observation. He looked at Della properly. He is yet coming to terms with the fact that she doesn't have hair, but he is not mad about it. Guys, that's a clue I'm giving you. He is not mad. He is not angry about it. There's something about it. Why he is completely blank at what he is seeing right now, okay, or watching right now. This is interesting. So let's find out more about this. Is there anything else here? No, just the 4 meanings. Guys, you can pause the video. I am not going to give you a minute for this, okay? Let me go to the next one. Oh, there is one meaning here more. Wit is an intelligent person. Witty also is intelligence. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Pause the video if you want to make a note of these things. Allow me to go to the next one. Jim drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table. Don't make any mistake, Del, he said, about me. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that could make me like my girl any less. But if you will unwrap that package, you may see why you had me going a while at first. Absolutely amazing. Especially this one. Guys, such lines are called impact lines. And I repeat, the use of such impact lines is that by practicing those lines, you become fluent with the language. It's such an impact sentence. Let's read it one more time. Guys, pay proper attention when I do that. The ones in the red bracket, okay? I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that could make me like my girl any less. I am absolutely sure if you try to do this, you will also tend to fall in love with this line. So Jim is making it very clear here that, my dear sweetheart Della, it is not a haircut or even a shave. I don't care what you do. There is nothing in this world that could make me like my girl, which is you, any lesser. My love for you won't reduce even by an iota. Iota, a very small amount. I-O-T-A, iota. There is nothing that will make my love reduce. So it's not about that. But then look at this, open this packet. Remember, he just pulled out a packet from his overcoat. So just, take out, unwrap this gift, this present I have for you. And then you will see why I was having the look that I had on my face, okay? You will soon understand that. So now I'm excited. Let's see what's going to happen now. I hope you've understood the paragraph. And remember, there is this impact line. It's a very nice line, guys. One more time before we go to the next slide, please. One more time. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shampoo or a shave that could make me like my girl any less. Oh, try that. All right then. Next one, please. Now she will unwrap and let's see what she finds, okay? White fingers and nimble tore at the string and paper, and then an ecstatic scream of joy, and then alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails, necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat. Guys, what is this? Let's understand this part by part. Nimble is very quick. So she was very excited. Guys, I'm sure even when it's your birthday and you receive present, you're very quick to tear it open and see what you got, is it not? So she was also very excited. Remember, she also has made a sacrifice. So she's very sure that Jim must have done something special for her as well. Ecstatic is very blissfully happy or very joyful, very ecstatic. But then what happened? Alas. Now this is for parts of speech or identify the word class. So it is interjection. It shows sadness. Guys, it shows sadness. Alas. I'm sure you've heard of this. Alas, she is dead. Is it not? Shows sadness. And there was a quick feminine change to hysterical tears. What do you mean by that? Wildly uncontrolled. Something that is typical of the feminine gender. Is it not? Very emotional. Very emotional. More emotional than men for sure. So she was very happy. She just, opened it, unwrapped it, or almost tore it. And then she was happy. The next moment she was like, AWWW, is it not? And then she was very sad for a reason. I'm sure she saw something that made her sad. Hysterical, very melodramatic, sudden change of emotions. Sure you like the way the lesson is written. I've been saying this. The lesson has been written in a very fantastic manner, guys. Okay. Is there any other entry here? Yes. Guys, I want to talk about the Lord of the Flat here. Yes. The Lord of the Flat here is Jim. So what was the meaning of this last part here? Necessitating the immediate employment of all of the comforting powers. Guys, comforting power means to comfort somebody, to soothe somebody, to make someone calm. So she started crying. So Jim had to use all his powers to calm Della. Like, don't cry. It's okay. Comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat. So the Lord of the Flat is Jim. Try to understand the way it is written. Okay. So the Lord of the Flat, that is Jim, had to use all his comforting powers to make Della calm. Remember, there were hysterical tears. By the way, I love the way they show tears in cartoons. Have you seen how hysterical they are? In cartoons, whenever the characters cry, it's almost like a shower coming. Water, it's almost like a shower. There's a puddle of water. I like the way they exaggerate. No one cries like that in real life. But in cartoons and in anime, you see that all the time. When they cry, it's like shower coming all over. I'm sure students, you love this, isn't it? You've seen this. Exaggeration. I'm sure I explained this properly. The powers of the Lord of the Flat. The Lord of the Flat is Jim, so he had to use all his powers to comfort Della. Let's proceed to the next slide immediately because there is a reason, guys. And this climax should not be missed. So you can pause the video if you want to make a note of things. But please allow me to go to the next slide. It's a big one. Let me read it. Stop doing your work, guys. For there lay the combs, the set of combs side and back that Della had worshipped long in a Broadway window. Beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell with jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. And now they were hers. But the tresses that should have adorned the coveted adornments were gone. But she hugged them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look up with dim eyes and a smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." This is absolutely outstanding. I cannot say that enough. Guys, what has just happened? Della had seen at a Broadway. Broadway is the main road. She had seen a set of combs, expensive combs, okay? Remember, Della had beautiful hair. So she had seen that. But those were costly. Those were expensive. So Della knew that she had no chance of having them ever. She had yearned. Yearn meaning you want them. You want them badly. Yearn or crave. But she was sure that she probably will never have it. Okay? And now, there they are, belonging to her. Unfortunately, what has happened? She has the comb when she doesn't have the hair. Sad. But she appreciates the fact that her husband had put in so much of thought into the present. And so she held them to her bosom. And then after some time, she was looking down, and after some time she looked up at Jim and just said that my hair grows very fast, so don't worry, I will make good use of this lovely present, lovely gift that you have given me. Fantastic, is it not? Absolutely. Now you understand why Jim was looking her the way he was looking, because then he thought, okay, I am holding a set of combs with me, and there's my wife, my pretty Della, without hair. All right. The climax is yet pending. We don't know yet about Jim's position here. Okay. Let's go ahead and study some entries here. Broadway, I told you, is the main road. Craved and yearned almost mean the same, wanting something really badly. So that's tautology. The words craved and yearned mean the same. So you can make a note of that as tautology. Coveted is very much sought after, and bosom is the chest, a seat for emotions. Okay, so Della held the combs near her chest. Okay, she held her to her breast, and she really, really cares and loves the gift. But what's the point? Next one, no, that's it. Guys, pause the video. Don't make me give you a minute. The lesson has arrived at such a nice juncture. I don't want to give you a minute and lose the continuity. So pause the video, okay? Allow me to go to the next one, please. And then Della leaped up like a little singed cat and cried, oh, oh, again, the interjection at work here. She's really sad. Jim had not seen his beautiful present. Now, Jim doesn't know, guys. Remember, Jim yet does not know about his present. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. The dull, precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit. Guys, remember, the metal seemed ordinary, but it was Della's excitement that made the fob chain actually glitter and shine. Again, so nicely written. Did you understand what I just said? The metal was ordinary. It had normal luster. But Della's ardent spirit, Della was so excited that her excitement actually gave the metal more shine. Okay? That's absolutely brilliantly written. Isn't it a dandy, Jim? Guys, dandy means excellent. We'll come to that. I hunted all over town to find it. You will have to look at the time 100 times a day now. Give me a watch. I want to see how it looks on it. Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. The meaning of dandy is excellent. And give me a watch. They'll ask you to find identify the type of the sentence. It is imperative. I'm going to explain this, guys. What has happened here is Della placed the fob chain, the open palm, and said, here's your present. And give me your watch. I want to see how this fob chain looks on the watch. And Jim did nothing but just, put his hand around his head, and then he, just lay down on the couch. You know the reason probably now. We watch a lot of Indian cinema, okay? The thing is, he did not give the watch. Della asked for the watch, but he did not give the watch. Why? We'll find out, guys. We'll find out. Oops, a daisy. Della, said he, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They are too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs, and now suppose you put the chops on. Absolutely brilliant. So what has happened? Jim has sold the golden watch, his gold watch, because they were poor. So where would he get the money to buy those expensive combs? So he has sold his watch, and then he got the money to buy those combs. So Jim is saying that our presents are too nice to use at the moment. So we will just probably should keep them aside because they cannot be used just at moment. Because look at the irony here. He has got combs for his wife who doesn't have hair, and wife has got a fob chain for the watch that Jim doesn't have anymore. Nice. Here to this explanation one more time. What did I just say? I said that Jim has got for his wife a lovely set of combs when she doesn't have hair, and she has gifted Jim a fob chain when Jim doesn't have the watch for it. Absolutely brilliant. And now, guys, for the entries, guys, this is the contracted form for them, and they are too nice to use just at present. Remove two. So you will say they are so nice that they cannot be used just at present. Because of the verb are, we are going to use cannot, present tense. They are so nice that they cannot be used just at present. Guys, that's it. I think there are only two entries, so I'm not going to wait here or give you additional minute. You can pause the video and I will come to the final screen of our lesson. So what's this? The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. But in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are the wisest, everywhere they are wisest. They are the Magi, O Henry. Guys, let me explain this to you. Before that, let's go ahead and let's go through some entries. This is the manger. This is the manger, not manager, guys. Manger, a long trough for feeding horses or cattle. And by the way, this word here, babe in the manger, we're talking about a baby. The meaning of the word babe here is baby. Before boys give their imagination a run for money, the babe in the manger, we're talking about Jesus Christ upon birth. Very important. Very, very important. I just clarified that. And now here you have chronicle, which is a written account of an event. And O. Henry, of course, the writer has expressed his views. They are the wisest. Make a note of the comparison, the degrees of comparison. Positive will be no one is as wise as they, and comparative will be they are wiser than anyone else. That's it. We will do the textual exercises the next time, guys, but let me come on cam for explanation of this last part. The writer is saying that in today's world, it's very difficult to find such people who will exchange the only thing they have for their partner. They both had two lovely possessions, one each, but they sold it for each other just to give the pleasure. So in today's world, they could be termed as foolish. But the writer says, let this be said, that they are the wisest. They were selfless in their love. They were uncompromising. They thought tremendously about each other, and they could not have lived through Christmas without gifting something to each other. So these two characters in the lesson are indeed the Magi, and they are the wisest, and such people will always be the wisest. Tell me, you enjoyed this, right? Absolutely delightful. It's one of my favorite lessons. And this lecture has now gone for about an hour and 5 minutes. Let me bring this to the end by saying that we will study the textual entries the next time. And up until next time, please take care. Do not venture outside. Let me know whether you like the story, the content, my explanation, everything. And we will meet again very soon. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.